AI washing. Have y'all heard of that term? It essentially means that companies are attributing layoffs to AI that they were going to do anyway. And y'all know me, I'm super business focused, I'm super data driven. I've been doing some research because I've been suspicious about that. Let's get into the data. So, according to Crunchbase, about 93,000 tech workers were laid off in 2022, around 191,000 in 2023, 95,000 in 2024, 127,000 in 2025. So the layoffs happened. I ain't trying to tussle about that. The layoffs absolutely happened. But if you all remember, right before those layoffs, there were massive hiring situations. If you're watching my video, you were there during the pandemic. You know, especially in the space of tech, everybody and their mama was like getting roles within tech, which is why it's harder to get into tech or data now. If you know, you know. Now, fast forward to 2025. By 2025, those tech postings were around 36% less than what they were pre-pandemic. You picking up what I'm putting down? We aren't just experiencing those layoffs. We're experiencing those layoffs in addition to the massive hiring decrease. And when we look at the broader labor market, this is applicable to every industry. It's cooled down in its entirety, not just in tech. And I've always said that people always ask about tech or only one sector. And I'm like, the economy affects every industry almost. So the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics reported that job postings dropped to about 6.5 million at the end of 2025. So it cooled down all the way around. Now let's talk about when ChatGPT was actually introduced to the public. It was not introduced to the public until November of 2022. And within the first week, about 1 million users downloaded it. I mean, y'all were eating it up quick. But widespread enterprise adoption does not happen overnight. Like, that is something that takes time. Anybody that has ever worked in tech or anything and you release a product, you know that that product has gone through several iterations before it's like, okay, we're good to go. And even after it's good to go, you're still iterating that product. It never stops. So now I'm looking at the data from a survey from McKinsey and Company, which stated that about 1/3 of organizations were using generative AI in at least one business function in 2023. And that jumped to roughly 65% of organizations by early 2025. So businesses were adopting it. We see is an increase in layoffs happening in 2022 and 2023, but this is roughly around the same time that businesses are still kind of getting used to AI on an enterprise level. So let's consider all of that, but now let's go look at the capital funding. Global startup funding dropped from about 462 billion in 2022 to 285 billion in 2023. That's a 38% decline. And that's from Crunchbase data. So it's reputable. Naturally, when companies contract, when their funding contract, what they gonna do? They're going to cut those costs. That's not new. That's business. Businesses were created to be profitable. This is why layoffs happen. This is why hiring cuts are done. This is why all of this stuff happens. None of that stuff is personal. Them people don't know you. They only care about the money. And it's also worth noting that in the economy is cyclical. It's one of the first things we learn in finance that the economy goes in cycles. It expands and it contracts. When companies aggressively hire during those expansion stages, what are they gonna do when it comes time to contract? What they gonna do? Hmm. What we're experiencing today, I don't think it's just solely attributed to AI. I think that, in short, these companies financially bit off more than they could actually chew. Y'all just out here racking up debt, and you got scared, and you were like, I don't want to do it no more. I don't want to pay the bills no more. Y'all gotta go. I say that because let's look at the trends. The hiring boom, the job posting drop. the economy started going crazy. Like it's a lot of different data points with that. So am I saying that AI is irrelevant? I'm not. I think it plays a role, but I think that it is more complex than people are seeing on the surface. I think the data tells the story, and I think that it's being presented as if it is more mature than what it actually is. Anybody that has worked with data, and most people in this space, we're all kind of saying the same things, that I don't think it's as mature as people are trying to act like it is. It's just data. And at some point, it's just regurgitating what it already knows. It doesn't create anything new. It's just regurgitating old things over and over and over again based on patterns in data. Now, I also think that a lot of these tech jobs are a lot safer than what we think they are. When I look at the data from the US Bureau of Labor and Statistics, software developers and other tech roles are still projected to grow at a much faster rate than other industries. And I'm data driven. Like I'm gonna go by the data because, like I always say, data doesn't care about feelings or your panic or your anxiety. That's black and white, and you got to lean in on it. And after 13 years of working with data, as someone that has a very keen sense of pattern recognition, as someone that has an MBA, I think that this story is a little bit more complex than what is presented in these headlines. And to me, when things seem like panicky or whatever, I go straight to the data. I start doing my research because I'm like, there has to be other things that are attributed to this. And based on my research, I think I'm right. What are your thoughts? Bye, y'all.